Okay, let's start with the next chapter, that is stack and queue. So, so in this chapter, we'll be learning about the data structure. Okay, we'll be learning about the data structure, stacks and queue. So, what is a stack? Stack is basically a linear data structure where elements are added or removed only from one end. Let's consider a stack of bangles. There is no bangle, of course. So, what do you mean by stack here? Stack is basically a linear data structure where the elements are added or removed only from one end. If you consider a stack of bangles, I can just add the bangles or I can remove the bangles only from this end. I can't add it or remove it from this end. Isn't it as simple as that? So, what is a stack? Stack is a linear data structure. A data structure is basically a method of organizing the data very efficiently. You have to store it very efficiently. You should be able to retrieve it. And it's a linear data structure. That means the elements are stored one after the other. Let's consider some elements here. And these elements are stored one after the other, wherein the insertion and deletion takes place only from one end. Only takes place from one end. That means if I have to, for example, I've just stored 10 here. On top of it, I have to add it here only. Now I have to remove it. Then 20 only will come, not the 10. Because insertion and deletion takes place only from one end. That is called stack. Is the point here? Okay, so we have many examples also. I think it is given in the next slide, wherein you have a stack of bangles, stack of books, okay, pile of books we call it as that's or stack of plates. Plenty of examples for stack. Understand this. Okay, the end where we add or remove the elements is called as on top of the stack. What do you call it? It's called as on top of the stack. Elements, addition, adding of elements, removal of elements takes place only from one end. That end is called as on top, and they call it as LIFO. What is the principle? Stack follows a principle called LIFO. LIFO is last in, first out. And what is queue? A queue is also a linear data structure. Queue is also a linear data structure wherein the elements are inserted, okay, and removed from both the ends. Here we have two ends. Okay, let's consider that there are a queue of people standing, a queue of people, especially, they want to deposit the money. Okay, they're just waiting in a queue, in a bank for depositing some money. Then that means what? Okay, there is another person. There are already 5 people standing here, okay, in the queue to deposit an amount here, okay, near the counter. So here we have the 6th person coming here. Will this person allow him to join here or here? That means they have to join only from the rear end of the queue. The rear end of the queue only will be allowed, right? Similarly, deletion will takes place. If the person is done with his work, then he'll just quit from the. This will be removed from the queue, right? So here, deletion takes place from the front end and insertion takes place from the rear end. Queue has 2 pointers, I can tell you. That means we have 2 ends here, front end and the rear end. Is the point here? So we have a front end and the rear end and follows a principle called FIFO, that is first in, first out. First in, first out. The person who is standing in the first has to be addressed first. Should be get served first. There are some exceptions also. So we'll see that. So, okay, the insertion, deletion takes place from 2 different ends. We call it as queue. That's simple. Okay. Similarly, here we call it as deck. So, what is deck? A deck is basically insertion and removing of elements. Insertion and removing of elements takes from both the ends. Insertion takes place from the rear end. Insertion takes place from the rear end, from the front end. Deletion takes place from the rear end. Deletion also takes place from the front end. Both insertion, deletion takes place from both the ends. We call it as deck. So here this can be used to implement even stack as well as queue. If you restrict, out of all the 4 operations, if you restrict any 2 operations, it becomes a stack. Okay, and then here, of course, so if you implement only insertion, deletion to express the opposite ends, then it will become the queue. So if you implement a deck data structure, automatically we can have 2 other data structure queues and stacks and queue both. That is the benefit of deck. Clear? So we'll just go for the next slide. So what do we have? So we have some real life applications. Pile of cloths in an almirah, multiple chairs in a vertical pile, bangle, phone on the wrist and box of eatables in the pantry are some of the examples. For the stack and for the queue, what are the examples they've taken? Train ticket waiting list, customer service calls, vehicles and toll booth are these are the different examples that we have for the queue. And deck, re-entry at the ticket counter. So I can just go back to the same example. So let's consider that we have some 3 people here. They are just waiting, okay, near the counter. Okay, so this person has already taken the ticket and he has been removed from the queue. Okay, after 5 minutes, he'll come. After 5 minutes, he'll come. Okay, and he just ensures that he wants to get his change back. Okay, he just forgot to take the change back. So is that he is going to wait. Let's consider that by the time he comes after 5 minutes, there are 10 more people standing. Will he join from the rear end or will he be given the privilege? Will he be given the privilege to re-enter the queue from here only? Anyway, just to take the change of, hey, we have to give him some privilege because he was already there in the queue for a long time. Okay, for example, there are so many patients waiting for a particular doctor visit and there is some emergency patient who comes in, then we definitely have to allow him, right? So there are certain exceptions. Okay, there are certain exceptions. Certain emergency cases, we have to let the person to re-enter the ticket counter in this case. Okay, so that means insertion has to be from the rear end only in case of a queue. But in emergency, we have to let the person to join the queue from the front end also. That becomes deck. That becomes deck. Okay, and similarly, toll booth queue redirection. Toll booth redirection means what? Let's consider there is a particular toll booth 1 and there is another toll booth here. Okay, all the vehicles got stuck up here and there is no vehicle only. There are some 3 vehicles standing here. There is no vehicle only standing here. Okay, the system got stuck up here. So now this car can come here and can join this particular toll booth. Deletion is taken from the rear end, not the front end. Deletion is taken from the rear end. And of course, insertion is taking place from the rear end only. This is one. Again, he'll join and he'll join here, not here. Getting the point? So what I'm trying to tell you is, here you're trying to, this is the first car, this is the second car, and this is the third chance for him. But now we are deleting from the rear end only. Usually deletion takes place from the content group. Deletion is taking place from the rear end only here. Take a spec. The point here. So we'll just see the computer science application, reversing a string, undo, redo in editors, web browsing history, parenthesis matching are some of the examples for stack and queue. We have web server requests, multitasking, operating system, print. Okay, when you're giving print and all, it basically follows the queue principle. And browser history navigation, undo, redo in text editors, palindrome checking. We'll just go in detail with the palindrome checking using deck now. Okay? So we'll go for the next slide. So what is there? See, there are a number of operations on the linear data structure, especially the stacks and queues. So what is stack? Is basically a linear data structure that follows the principle called what is the stack of bangles, so something else. Okay, it's going to be a stack of bangles here. So what are the different operations that are allowed here? Adding an element to the stack, removing an element from the stack. So adding an element to the stack is called as push operation. Okay, let's consider that we have a stack here. Okay, 10, 20, 30. Can I add one more element? Space, if the space is only 3, have already allocated. Can I add 40 here? Can I add 50 here? Can I add 60 here? Definitely you cannot add it because there is no space. Check the space and then you enter the element. No. Check for the space and then enter the element. That is called overflow condition. Checking whether the stack is full or not. If the stack is full, you would say the stack is full. Okay, definitely you're giving a clear-cut message. Okay, when the stack is full, it becomes an overflow condition. Okay, check the overflow condition and then you insert the element. Inserting an element to the stack is called push operation. Okay, and whereas in case of path operation, there should be some elements for you to delete it. For an empty stack, you cannot delete it. From an empty stack, you cannot remove an element. Empty stack indicates an underflow condition. Empty stack indicates an underflow condition. Whenever we are doing a pop operation, we are checking an underflow condition. If a E is empty, we call it like E is empty function. Is the point here? Is empty, we are checking. And based on that only, we'll be able to remove the elements. If there is no element in the stack, how can we remove it? Remember, push, you have to check the overflow condition in all other programming languages, not Python. Python gives you a lot of chances, there is a lot of features, lot of chances, no, not that exact word, lot of features wherein, there's no end only. There's no end. You can keep inserting. As long as the memory is there, you can keep inserting the elements. There is no need to check the overflow condition in Python. In general, for other languages, definitely you have to check the overflow condition. Underflow, definitely you have to check even in Python also. If there is no element, how can you remove an element irrespective of the language, right? So next we'll go for the queue operation. What is queue? Queue is basically adding or removing an element takes place through two different ends. And it follows a principle called what? FIFO, that is first in, first out. That is called first in, first out. What are the different operations of queue? We have NQ, DQ, is empty, peak is full. NQ is what? Inserting an element from the rear end of the queue is called NQ operation. Deleting an element from the front end of the queue is called as DQ operation. Okay, in case of an NQ, definitely you have to check in underflow condition. It is the same thing. Underflow means if the queue is empty, how can you remove an element? And if the queue is full, how can you insert an element to the queue? Overflow condition is the same only. Next, what we have is empty. Check if the queue is empty or not. If the queue is empty, then definitely before performing DQ, we're going to check the is empty. Okay? Check if the queue is empty or not. A special condition only has been given to check for the underflow condition. Nothing but an underflow condition only. Clear? Similarly, we have a peak that gives you the front item without removing. Similarly, we have an isEmpty, peak function. All these things are there even in the stack function as well. Stack operation also, we can include this peak and isEmpty also, we can have it. It is not there in the textbook, but still you can write it. That's not wrong. Okay, it's going to give you the front item. It is going to give you, for example, so this gives you the 30 is the peak element in case of stack. So if I write 10, 20, and 30 in case of queue, 10 will be given as the topmost element, I can tell you. That is there in the front. Queue is full. Is full means what? When the queue is full. Okay, it's basically not required in the Python-based queue. Python-based queue, there is no something as overflow condition. Because there is a feature for you to keep entering the elements as many as elements you want. There is no restriction as long as the memory is supporting for you, right? Similarly, we have a deck where, insertion can be taken place from both the ends, rear as well as front. Insert front, insert rear, delete front, delete rear. Okay, it is all the same. Okay, similarly, we'll just have to see the implementation part means it's very simple. Okay, it is almost the same in all these data structure. Little bit variation only is there. That is what you have to observe here. What is it? Glass stack is equals to list. Empty stack, you're going to have it. Okay, and similarly, I'm going to check isEmpty. IsEmpty is basically going to check whether the stack is empty or not. Stack is empty or not. How are you going to check? Okay, def isEmpty glass stack. Return length of glass stack. If the length of the stack is going to be 0, definitely it is going to be an empty stack only, no? I can write it, return 0. Return length of glass stack equal to 0. If length of glass stack equal to 0, you return that. That means 1. It's going to return. If this is true, it is going to return 1. It's going to return 1. Else part, you have to take it there. Or else you can write it like this. You can write it like this. You can write like this, or you can write it this like this. That means if len of my stack equal to 0, return true, else return false. Clear? Size. Def size of glass stack, it is all the user-defined functions. Using user-defined functions only, they have implemented it. So return len of glass stack, if that gives you the length of the glass stack. So inserts an element. Okay, def pop or push operation. Push operation is to insert an element to the stack. insert an element to the stack, basically, you need the glass stack, which is nothing but a list only, and the element to be inserted. How do you insert an element? There is an element 10 here and there isn't 20 here. And for this list, so this list can also be considered like this, no? How will I insert 30 or 40 here? Just append it. Like is a function called append function that comes in list class tag dot append element. Okay, and similarly, we have to remove the element. For you to remove an element, that means to say that you want to check the underflow condition. E is empty, you have to check. If E is empty, glass tag, underflow, return none, nothing you have to return. Return none. Okay, underflow, return none, else going to pop the element. I'm going to remove it. Going to remove that. To delete it. Clear? Similarly, we have to display it. So I'm going to check current elements are there in the stack area and you have to repeatedly display. No, you can have some 10 elements, 20 elements, 3 elements. You need to have a loop for you to display. So for I in range glass stack -1. Okay, from here till here, this is going to be the length -1. So this is going to be, 0, 1, 2, right? So total elements is 3, length -1. Okay, length of glass stack -1, -1, -1, because you have to go in the reverse direction. How will you see? Will you display as 10, 20, 30 or 30, 20, 10? How do you retrieve it? Topmost element will come, right? Topmost 30 will come, 20 will come, 10 will come. Similarly, from -1, 30 will come, again a decrement, 20 will come, again a decrement, 10 will come. As long as there is element in the stack, it will keep displaying all the elements. That is why they're given in the length of glass stack. Every time it keep decreasing it. Okay, and print the glass stack of I. Okay. Similarly, we have a queue here. The similar only, we have a list only we are considering even for the queue also. Is empty is as it is. Length is also same. But instead of queue, instead of stack, we have just used queue here. Because queue stack is implemented in the form of list only. But how does it make a difference? Insertion deletion is implemented in a different way. Let's try to understand. How is it different? So you can just see here, NQ, MyQ element, you're going to append it. So I'm going to take 10, 20, 30, and I want to insert an element. Here also it is appended, it is the same thing only, not much difference here. While popping, which one you're going to pop it? You're going to pop 10 or 30. That means 10 should be removed. No, the person who is standing in the first should be served first. That means this should be removed. How do you remove this? This means what? Always this. If I remove this, that means the first element in the queue always. How do you represent the first element in the queue always? That means it will always have the index 0. Always it will have the index 0. That means return myq.pop of 0. We can give the index and we will remove it. If you don't give the index, always the last element will be removed. If I don't give the index, if I don't give the element, the last element will be removed here. Always the last element will be removed. If I give the index, the first element, whatever the index are given, that element gets deleted. That's the difference, main difference. Else, she was empty. Clear? So we'll go for the deck here. It is also same as queue implementation. Inserts an element. It is same as NQ. This is also going to be same, not much difference because insertion at the rear end, deletion from the rear end, it will be the same only as queue. Okay, and then we'll go for this part. So I just want to print the top of the glass stack, the topmost element. For example, 10, 20, 30 is there. I just have to print the topmost, the peak element. I have to display without deleting it. Then how we are doing it? Check whether there is it empty or not. Stack is empty or not. If there is an empty stack, then you have to say stack is empty, none. Or else, just display this one. 10, 20, 30. How will I get this? This is L. Okay, this is L. L of -1 means what? This is the index 0, 1, 2, forward indexing. -1, -2, -3. This is going to be the backward indexing. Just give us -1, no, done with that. It's just displaying only, not removing. Don't use pop here. Don't use pop. Pop means it will be removed. Clear? Okay, similarly, we have this one. So how will you just display the topmost element in the queue? That means I'll go for my queue of 0. In case of 10, 20, 30, I want the topmost element. In this, I showed you like this because it is easy for you to understand in terms of list. But this I'm showing you as it is. I want the topmost element from the queue. This I want. This means what? 0 only, no. List of 0. Instead of list, I'm taking it as queue of 0. Clear? That's it. Okay, so we'll go for the get front. Get front is also same only. No much difference. Deck, instead of queue, I'm just using deck here. Instead of queue, I'm just using deck here. Okay. And here we have rare, get rare. So get rare, you have to understand that rare element I want. How will I get this? Deck of -1. I can get deck of -1. Deck of -1. Just take it as my deck of -1. No, that's more than enough. Right? Else, deck is empty. Okay. And similarly, we have a deletion from the rare end. In case of deletion from the rare end, how do you do it? Very simple pop. Very simple pop. Pop will always give you the last element. Okay. Similarly, I want to insert from the front end. I want to insert the element from the front end. Means you can use a function called insert function. Insert function 0, element. Insert the element 20. Insert the element 100. Here only means what? Give the index. Insert 100 here. Insert. Up and a few years, it will come here. 40 will be coming here. But wherever, according to your requirement, if you want to insert, you can make it a function called insert function only, which takes index as well as the element to get inserted. Clear? So we'll just go for the next topic. That's called notations for the arithmetic expressions. True. Okay, let's start. Okay, let's come for the notations for the arithmetic expressions. So in this, we have an expression here. I think you already know an expression, a simple expression, x plus y. What is an expression? A combination of operands in the operator when evaluated results in a single value. What is an expression? Expression is a combination of operators and operands when evaluated, it results in a single value. Right? That is what an expression is. So what are the different kinds of expression we can have it? That's what they are telling. We can have an infix expression, a prefix expression, and a postfix expression. If the operator is in between the operands, we call it as an infix expression. It is in between. If it is before the operand, we call it as an prefix expression. If the operator is after the operand, we call it as a postfix expression. The operator can be anything. Don't worry about it. So this prefix expression is also called as Polish notation, and this postfix expression is also known as reverse Polish notation. So here, why do we have to go for prefix expression or postfix expression when we have an infix expression? Say very simple example, if I take it as an x plus y and then, like z plus 8. So we have an expression like this. We have so many operator, plus is there, and then we have, I'll take this also, where multiplication is there, division is there, parenthesis is there. Which one to execute when? What is the priority? So now our task is not for us to execute because we know the BODMAS rule, everything we know it, we have to execute it. We have to make the computer to execute. We have to get the result very quickly. That is the major intention. So in order to remember all the precedences, so okay, I have to execute first and then do it, and then you divided it. So instead of doing this using an infix expression, if it is converted into prefix or the postfix notation, then it is easy for the interpreter or the compiler to give the results in a much easier way when compared to easier way and faster way when compared to that of an infix expression. This can be evaluated using stack applications only. These are basically the applications of stack only. This is the point of view. So we'll just go now. I hope you know the need of the other expressions like in prefix and then postfix expression. So what do we have? So we have an algorithm to convert infix to post expression. Okay, so consider this expression only. We had this x plus y. Okay, similarly, we have z plus 8, something like this we'll consider. We have an infix only. Okay, it is in between the operands only. Now, how we have to convert this means any infix expression, it has a certain characters in that. Infix, this is an infix expression. This has to be converted to postfix expression. If I give x plus y means, how will you write as a postfix expression? That means I'm going to write it, the operator after the operand. That is what you mean by postfix expression, right? That is what you mean by postfix expression. Now what we have to do, so in order to convert an infix to postfix, what all the terms you may get it? You may get a parenthesis, left parenthesis, right parenthesis, operator you may get it, or you may get an operand. These are the possibilities that you may get in any infix expression. Left parenthesis, right parenthesis, then we have an operand, operator, then we have, I think I've covered everything, right? These are factors that you may come across. So if you get any of these characters, what are you supposed to do in order to convert infix to postfix? See, if a simple expression, I can do it manually only. Okay, if it's for a complex expression, then I have to use an algorithm. Anyway, we have to automate the task. No, ultimate intention is like we don't want to sit for hours together and to calculate and to convert and all. So we have to do it, like automatically. We want the system to do it. So for that, we have an algorithm. So let's understand what is the algorithm to convert. How do we convert infix to postfix? So here, what they have done, okay, if you have, see, this is basically converting infix to postfix, or whether we have to evaluate a postfix expression. It is not postfix to infix. It is basically to evaluate a postfix expression. Evaluate a postfix expression, not postfix to infix. So in order to convert infix to postfix, we have left parenthesis, right parenthesis, operator and operand. What you have to do, if you have a left parenthesis, just insert to the stack. Insert to stack. Stack is a linear data structure that follows the principle called LIFO, means last in, first out. Okay, so here we have both the stack. If you have right parenthesis, keep on popping the elements till you get the left parenthesis and discard both the parentheses. And if you get an operand, just append to the postfix expression. Ultimately, we have to get one postfix expression. No, we need to get one postfix expression only, right? So similarly, what I have to get xy plus here and then z8 plus here. And then I have, this is there, this is A, this is B, let's consider. xy plus z8 plus and then slash. This is what the final expression we have to get. I have done separately for this. You consider this as A. This expression is B. A by B is what? AB dash. That is what I've done. Manually I've done it. This we have to convert into the postfix using the algorithm now. So this is clear. Left means push to the stack. Right means keep on popping the elements till you get the left parenthesis and discard both. In case of operand, you append to the postfix expression. Final expression is this only, postfix expression. It is basically a string only. And if you get an operator, is the main important thing that you have to keep in mind. If you get an operator, what you have to do? Operator means, if you get an operator, there are two possibilities. If the operator is having a higher precedence, than the stack operator, you're going to push to the stack. Pushing is what? Inserting the character to the stack. And if the operator is having a lesser precedence or equal to precedence of the stack operator, then you have to keep on popping the elements till that operator gets higher precedence than the stack operator. Then you can push that. Right there. I told you, the operator, what if I get an operator? That's the question. Operator is having a higher precedence, then you push the stack blindly. No need to worry. If the operator is having a lesser precedence or equal to precedence of that to the stack operator, then you have to keep on popping. till that operator is having a higher precedence than the stack operator. Then what is it still considered? We'll look at the example. We'll come back to this later. Okay, this is the example they've taken, the same example only. So what we have to do? So I have to start from the left to right. So what is there? Parenthesis is there. Parenthesis means what? Very simple, push to the stack. Parenthesis, I have encountered a symbol called parenthesis. What is the action I have to do? I have to push to the stack. So this is the representation of stack and of push to the stack. And this is going to be the postfix expression. Nothing is there. It is empty now. Next character is what? It is going to be the X. X is an operand. Operand means what? You need to append to the stack. X, append the string to the stack. Then we have same only. Nothing is being stored in the stack. Then X. Nothing extra added to the stack element. Then we have plus. Plus is an operator. Operator means check the precedence. Operator means check for the precedence. Check for the precedence. Of course, it is a BODMAS rule only. Okay, first thing is going to consider multiplication, division is going to be the first priority. Plus minus will be there. And of course, we have, this parenthesis, left parenthesis, having the least precedence. Now we will come, plus is there. What is parenthesis? It is having the least precedence. That means plus is having more precedence. You push to the stack. A push to the stack is still X only. Next, what we have Y here. Y means it's an operand. Append to the stack. Append to the postfix expression. XY is there. Okay, next what we have, I'll just rewrite the expression. What is that expression? X plus Y Z star 8. This is what the expression. Okay, this is what the expression. And similarly, we have right parenthesis. Right parenthesis means keep on popping till you get the left parenthesis. See, what we had here is just pluses there. So keep on popping everything till you get the left parent. Discard both. Pop this, discard. Pop this, discard means nothing is there in the stack. Right, it's empty. Okay, and when I pop it, what I have to do? I have to add it to the postfix expression. It is XY plus. I discarded the parenthesis, remember. Then we've got the slash. Slash is there. Check the precedence. Nothing is there. Add to the stack. It's having its own precedence. No, nothing for me to compare. You push to the stack. Then we have this left parenthesis. So push to the stack. No need to compare. Then you have Z is there. Then you have to append to the operand. Okay, append to the postfix expression. Then we have star. Star is there. Then we have left parenthesis. Parenthesis having a least precedence. Just push to the stack. So just push to the stack. 8 is there. 8 is means character, operand. Then I'm going to add it to the postfix expression. Then we have right parenthesis. Keep on popping till you get the left parenthesis. Okay, I have to pop this. I have to pop this. That means after popping, I have to, star is there. See, Z8 was there. I've appended this. I've discarded this. Discarded both. Then what we have next? I have nothing. Oh, nothing. Just, okay, remove all the elements from the stack and add it to the postfix expression. That is what we got. Clear? Okay. Next, what we have is going to be evaluation of postfix expression. Evaluation of postfix expression is what? In this case, okay, what we have, very simple, you have to know here, given in postfix expression, how will you find out the value? Expression is basically a combination of operands and operators when evaluated results in a single value. Similarly here, I can have an operand operator but not the parenthesis. You will not find the parenthesis. Operand means you need to push to the stack. Operand means you need to push to the stack. Operator means you need to pop to operands. Operand means you need to push to the stack. Operator means you need to pop two elements from the stack, perform the operation, and then again you push the result back to the stack. Is the point clear? Add one item in the stack and results. Or else if there is only one element, that will be the result, or else it is going to be the invalid expression. I'll just show you with an example. You'll be able to understand in a better way. Okay. So let's take an example here. We have a postfix expression. What all we can have in the postfix expression? I can have an operand and an operator, but not the parenthesis. Parenthesis is not here. If you get an operand, what you have to do, just push to the stack. If you get an operator, then perp two elements from the stack, perform the operation, and then push the result back to the stack. Okay, we'll just do it. 7, 8, 2 is there. 7 is there, push to the stack. 8 is there, push to the stack. 2, all are operands only. Operand, no doubt, push to the stack. 2, 8, 7 we got. Then we have star here. When you get an operator, just perp the element. Just perp the element. That means what? We have 2 being popped out. I'm going to pop it. I'll store it as N2. Remember, you have to store it in a variable called N2. Is it N2? Any variable, but it should be considered a second variable when you're performing an operation. And this will be stored in N1. It's not there in the algorithm. It is easy for you to understand. That's why I'm writing. Perform the operation now. N1 star N2. That means what? 8 star 2. 16 we got. So you got the result and then you push to the stack again. So push to the stack again. 16 and 7 I've got. Next is what? So it is 4 is there. So 4, 16, 7. Then you have got operator. Then you pop it. This is N2. This is N2 and this is N1. So N2 is equals to 4. N1 is equals to 16. Perform the operation. N1 slash N2. This is important. 16 slash 4. It is not the other way. That's why it is important, I told. So now what we have got the answer, it is 4. You push the result back to the stack. So we've got 4 and 7. Next, what we have, it is pluses that perform the operation. That means this is N2, this is N1. So that means what? 4 plus 7. Sorry, 7 plus 4. Anyway, it doesn't make a difference here. It's 11. Then you have to push it back to the stack. But nothing else is there. You have to pop it again. The only one value I've got. No other value also here for me to perform further operation. Only one value. Then definitely what is the answer? We have 11 is the final answer that we have got. Is the point here? It's going to be 11. Okay, and similarly, we have a palindrome algorithm here. So what is a palindrome algorithm? So what we have discussed so far is going to be an application or stack, whether it is going to be an postfix expression, whether it is a postfix expression or whether it is going to be in terms of postfix expression or whether it is going to be infix to postfix or it is evaluation of a postfix expression. It's basically an application of stack only. Okay, and now we'll learn the application of tag also. Okay, so what is an application of tag? Very simple to check the palindrome. Let's consider a string called madam. I've taken a madam. So if you reverse also, I'll be able to read it as madam only. Okay, if I read it in the forward direction or in the reverse direction, it is being read as madam only. Similarly, you can consider as radar. Okay, level, whatever the Malayalam. Okay, there are so many palindrome strings. No, so I have to check whether the given string is palindrome or not. Palindrome is basically a string. If you read it in the reverse direction, so it should give the same word, right? That's what you mean by palindrome here. So now, what we have, so I have taken a string here called a madam, and this madam has to be stored in the deck. It has to be stored in the deck. Very simple. How do you do it? Traverse the string. Each character by character you traverse. To take each character by character at a time, make use of a for loop and take each character by character and start inserting the character at the insert rare. Deck only, make use of the insert rare and then keep on inserting. That means I've inserted M and then D and then inserting rare means that the rare end only we keep inserting. No, M is done and after that A, D, then A, then I have done M. Okay, I have done this part now. Then after storing the entire string using deck, using one of the functions of deck called as insert rare, I have stored the entire string in the deck data structure. After that, what we will do, see, after that, what we will do, okay, so let's consider madam is already being inserted, we'll consider. After doing that, you have to remove one character each from the front and the rear. I have to remove this. Deletion from the rear end, deletion from the rear front end, deletion from the rear end, deletion from the rear end, from both the end. At a time, one character has to be removed. Delete rear means I'll give one. Delete front means I'll get yum. Compare it. Then only palindrome will be satisfied, right? So if you remove it, okay, using these two functions, delete front and delete rear. So if you check, see m of got, if it matches, then you continue with the loop. You continue with the loop. Okay, I've removed it. Yes, it is true. Then I'll continue with that. Then I'll get a here, delete front, delete rear element. Again, I'm going to check it, is it same or not? So I keep on doing this process till I keep on doing this process, see here, until deck is empty. Until deck is empty for even number of characters or for the odd number of characters in this case, wherein I have only left with a single character. With a single character. If you have, for example, let's consider that, I have some 6-letter word. Then I'll not be left with any other character, right? So deck can be an empty if it matches with all the characters are same only. Everything is matching. MM is matching, AA is matching, or it's just left with one character. That means to say that string is a palindrome. String is a palindrome. If not, no. If not means you can just say that string is not palindrome. As simple as that. Clear? Okay, let's start with the next chapter that's called sorting. So I think you'll be knowing what is sorting. Sorting is basically arrangement of elements either in ascending order. A descending order is called as sorting. Okay, sorting can definitely be applied, especially in terms of what? For the numeric values, even for the characters, for the numeric, and even for the strings, we can use this. Even for the strings also, let's especially for arrangement of the names in alphabetical order also, we can use it, that you already know. Okay, so a smaller set of data, definitely, I know the sorting technique will not be that significant, I can tell you. Okay, that means whatever the amount of time that we invest for sorting, okay, it's not that significant for a smaller set of data values. But it's a huge amount of data value, the huge data set, definitely, this extra time that is required for sorting the elements is really worth to take that overhead in order to sort the elements, so that the accessing, the retrieving of the elements can be done easily. Let's consider a dictionary. Okay, I just want to consider a dictionary and you want to find out a particular word. Let's consider that I want to find out the meaning of zoology. Something I want to search. So I want to search, let's consider, I want to find out the difference between, enthusiasm and excitement. So what are the difference? So something like that, if you want to find out means if it is not arranged, it is very difficult, right? It is very difficult. So that's why for a huge data set, considering an algorithm, considering the different algorithms is very, very important. Keep that in the larger data set. Since we cannot take for a larger set and explain here, okay, for the understanding's sake, we will just take some little elements, some few elements, and then try to explain. Keep that in the mind. These sorting techniques are basically made for a huge data set. Okay, so there are different algorithm that is there for the sorting techniques. What are the different sorting methods? We have a bubble sort, we have a selection sort, and we have an insertion sort. Okay, so just okay. So we'll just start with the algorithm now that's called the bubble sort. So in case of bubble sort, what exactly a bubble sort means? Let's consider I'm going to take a heavy object and I'm going to throw into the water. So if it throw into the water, it's going to make a kind of a bubble sound, right? So that is what they've taken this bubble meaning. So let's take the elements here as 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 and consider whether it is going to be, let's have an, keep that in the mind that a bubble sort and selection sort and insertion sort is basically done for the ascending order. Okay, I've just taken in reverse direction so that I can show you how the elements can be arranged in ascending order. Okay, I've just taken an example. This has to be arranged in the ascending order. So bubble sort is what? When you throw a heavy object into the water, it makes some bubble sound, right? So even here also in case of bubble sort, what we are doing, I'm just taking the heavy object. Ma'am, what do you mean by heavy object in terms of number? We can't take heavy object. So here we'll take the largest element. Heavy means what? So that you'll be able to relate the context with which I'm trying to tell you is you can relate it. The large, you cannot forget. See, the important thing is you need to remember the concept, logic, so that you'll be able to write the code. You cannot by heart every code, right? You need to remember the logic behind that so that you'll be able to relate it, you'll be able to recall it, grasp it at any point of time. So bubble sort is what? I'm going to consider the largest element, find the largest element and place it at the end in case of ascending order. Okay, that's why the name they've kept is bubble sort, by the name. Any sorting technique, you have to remember that any sorting technique will take two loops, one comparison and one swapping technique. So here we'll just see here. So I'm going to consider a loop here as I loop and then J loop, comparison is there and swapping technique is there. Very simple if I have to tell you like that. What? First loop, there will be a first loop, there will be a second loop, and there will be a comparison, and there will be a swapping technique. In all these three algorithms, in order for you to remember, I'm just taking some simple tips for you to remember all these algorithms. What is the first loop? First loop is always will be from 0 to n only. All of the techniques will be from 0 to n. The second loop is going to be starting from 0 to n minus I minus 1. Let us see an example here. So in this case, I'm going to consider the first loop I equal to 0 here. And what is the maximum value? Maximum value should be what? I should be less than 5. Because 5 elements is there, no? It should be less than 5. In case of J loop, what we have to consider, J should be equal to what? It is considered 0 only. And the maximum value of J in this case is what? S I n minus I minus 1. That means what? 5 minus 0 minus 1. That means 5 minus 1 is what? 4. It should be less than 4. It should be less than 4. Let us keep this in the mind. So we have 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 now. I'll start comparing the elements. See, anything, students, what do we do? If I have to sort it, I have to compare it. After I compare, I swap the elements. That is what is there in any sorting techniques. Either comparing, either swapping or I will shift the elements. So we'll just check here. So in this case, I'm going to consider what? 0 is there. I is less than n. I told you I is less than n. It's a loop. I have to repeat this. That's why it is repeating step 3 to 8 has been repeated. And here I've taken the second loop that is going to be j equal to 0 to n minus I minus 1. Why less? We will understand in the steps. Okay, I'll compare these two elements. After comparing these two elements, then it is for sure that I see you have to compare L of J. L of J, say it is num is there, num list is there, or L is there. Num list or list is one and the same variable. Okay, you can take list also. L of J is compared with L of J plus 1. 5 and 4 is there. This is going to be my j. This is going to be j plus 1. The index is 0. This is going to be 1. Let's consider. For time being, I'm just telling only 2 elements. It can be multiple elements also. So this is j plus 1. I'm comparing 5 and 4. If this element is greater, okay, which element is greater? If j is greater, this element is greater, then we swap it, no? We swap it, right? That is what we are doing. I compare these two elements. Definitely this is 0. This is the index of 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. 0 and j plus 1. Okay, j with j plus 1, 0 and 1 is compared. Elements stored in the index 0 is 1 is compared. Then swap it. It is 4, 5, 3, 2, 1. Next, I'm going to compare with j equal to 1. I have to do till 4. Remember that I have to do till 4. Then what do? I'm comparing these two. It should be what? 4, 3, 5, 2, 1. Clear? Then j is equals to 2. J is equals to 2. That means 0, 1, 2. So 2 is compared with 2 plus 1. J plus 1. That means what? It will be changing it to 4, 3, 2, 5, 1. Then I'll compare with j equals to 3 now. That means what? This 2 will be compared 4, 3, 2, 1, 5. It will be swapped. Is the point here? Is the point here? Remember here, the largest element is being placed. It will be identified. It will be bubbled up means what? It will be identified and it will be placed in its corresponding position, largest element. So when a heavy object is thrown into the water, the largest element, okay, the bubble is shown here, the largest element is shown and it will be placed in the corresponding position. I'm done with the first iteration. Done with the I equals to 0. Then we have to take I equals to 1 now. I equals to 1. What is j? J again have to start from 0 only. And here in this case, n minus, that means what? 5 minus 1 minus 1, that is 5 minus 2. That means it is 3. So that means j should be less than 3. J should be less than c. I'm starting from 0. So what are the elements? 4, 3, 2, 1, 5. Start from 0 only. Compare these two elements. Swap it. 4 is greater than 3. No, swap it. It is 3, 4, 2, 1, 5. Then again make it j equals to 1. From these two you compare, swap it. 4 is greater than 2. You swap it. 3, 2, 4, 1, 5. Then j equals to 2. I have to do till j is less than 3. Not for 3, less than 3. That means only till 2 I have to take. Then what I'm going to do? I'm going to take it as these two. Okay. So 3, is it right what I've done? So 4, 2. Okay, I've done it. So 3, 2, 4, 1, 4, 5. I will not continue because if I continue, this does not satisfy the condition. You can understand the last two elements are sorted. That's why it is n minus I minus 1. In every iteration, one element will be sorted. No need not have to go till n. For you to do this, I need not have to go for till 5. Because every time one iteration is done, one element is getting sorted. N minus I minus 1. 1 less than that one comparison, I comparison. 1 element means 1 element sorted. 2 comparison means 2 elements sorted. 3 comparison means 3 iteration means 3 elements sorted. That's why it is n minus I minus 1. Got the point? Remember that. And similarly, I can just do for the next iteration also. I equal to 2 and j equals to what? J equals to 0. That means 5 minus 2 minus 1. 5 minus 3 is what? It is 2 only. So j should be less than 2. It should be 0 and 1 only. We'll consider 3, 2, 1, 4, 5. That means 3, 2 is compared. Swap it. 3 is greater than 2. See, if j is greater, if this is greater, then I have to swap it. No, this is greater. So 2, 3, 1, 4, 5. Again for j equals to 1. These two has to be 1 and j plus 1. That means this. 2, 1, 3, 4, 5. Is the point clear? That's it. I should not continue. It should be less than 2. Similarly, so first 3 elements sorted. So similarly, I have I equal to 3. And what is this? 5 minus 3 minus 2. That means 5 minus 5. Sorry. 5 minus 3 minus 1. That means 5 minus 4, 1. J should be less than 1. j should be less than 1. What is the value of 0? So is it 0 less than 1? Definitely 0 is less than 1. You execute this. That means 2, 1 is compared. You swap it. It is, okay, I'm just writing here. So it is done. Again, for the next iteration, it does not satisfy the condition. It comes out of the loop. Is the point here? Bubble sort means bubbling it out the largest element at the end. Okay, let us go for the next one. Okay, we'll go for the selection sort. What is selection sort? We'll try to understand. I'm going to take the same example. You'll be able to understand in a better way. So in case of selection sort, how do we do it? See, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, I'm going to consider. And what are the loops I needed? Let me write it here also so that it becomes easy for you. What is the first loop? What is the second loop? What is the comparison? And what is going to be the swapping technique? First loop, I told you it is going to be from 0 to n for I. What is the j is what? J will be 1 greater than element. That means I plus 1 till n to n. And I'll compare L of j. Remember here, I always, let me write this part later. I will tell you what is the logic for the selection sort. What is the logic for the selection sort? Basically, here we're going to identify, select the smallest element. I want to select the smallest element. I don't know which is the smallest element. Until I compare all the elements, I don't know which is the smallest element. Let's assume this element is the smallest element, and I'm not going to store the smallest element. I consider this first element place itself is containing the smallest element. That means what is this m they have taken? It is the index. The first element is containing the smallest. First index is containing the smallest element. That is what we are thinking. We are assuming now. In this entire selection sort is basically divided into sorted list and unsorted list we are considering. And where is sorted? Everything unsorted only. Yes, everything is unsorted only. So right now, everything is unsorted. So whatever the element that comes this side will be, whenever we keep comparing, it becomes sorted elements. Sorted list, unsorted list. What I'll do, I'll find out the minimum element or smallest element, and then I keep on swapping the elements. You'll understand now how to do it. So what I do, I'll take 5. I'll take, this is going to be the smallest index. Okay, the index having the smallest element. And then what do I do? In case of this, I is equals to 0 only. And definitely I should be less than 5. This is the normal case only. And j I'm going to consider as what? I plus 1. That means what? It is 1. And j also should be less than 5 every time. Okay, I need not have to worry about it because it is always here. We can just consider here also. Okay, it is less than here, not like why we will see. How also we will see now. What I do? Take the first element. Okay, take the first index. That itself is the smallest element index I'm considering. And after that, I'm going to compare with L of this. L of j. L of j is what? It is going to be 1. This I'm comparing with the smallest. Element only comparing. M is going to be the minimum. See, M means is going to be the minimum. Okay, is the minimum index, I can tell you. Element of that means L of M. I'm comparing with L of j. L of min is compared with L of j. Compare it. E is 4 less than 5. Definitely it is less than this I'm telling as going to be the minimum index. This element is the minimum element I'm considering. I change it. Okay, what is the flag? Whenever I change my minimum element, I will set my flag also. To indicate that wherever I've changed the minimum, if there is no change, I will not make the swapping technique. So what will I make? I'm just going to make flag is equals to initially 0. And I've changed here. See, I've changed my minimum. See, now 4 is less than 5. 4 is less than 5 means minimum has become 4 now. The index has become what? The index has become 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. The index is 1 now. What is the minimum element? Minimum element, if I have to tell you, minimum only I'm going to take it. Minimum is going to be 1 now. Index only they have taken. Index only they have taken. And after that, what I will do, I'm just going for the next iteration, j equals to 2. Every time you compare with the minimum, not with anything else. Minimum only you have to compare. Minimum with n of j. So what is 2? 2 is compared with this. Now this is going to be the minimum. Okay, so I'll take again 4, this 2, 1. This is going to be the minimum index. Compare with this. Now 3 is the minimum. No, now 3 is the minimum. Okay, I'll make this is the minimum now. Okay, then again flag is set. Okay, flag is set. Flag is there also, 5 was set. Minimum is 2 now. Okay, and j equals to 3. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 are compared with 3 and 2. 3 and 2. And again, this has become the minimum. Flag is 1 and minimum is 0, 1, 2, 3. The index where it is been having a less element. Index is 3. Element is 2. Again, I'm going to take till 4 because I can go till 4. That is what it says. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Compare with this. This will be the minimum. And what is the flag? Flag is set to 1. What is the minimum element? Minimum element is equals to 4. Again, I'll go. So j equals to 5 does not satisfy the condition, comes out of the loop. When I comes out of the loop, what I'm trying to find here in the selection slot, I'm trying to find the minimum element by the index. Store the index. Minimum element only I'm trying to find, but store the index. Whenever I've changed the minimum value, then I have to ensure that I've changed it by making a status variable flag being set to 1. Now what we will do, we will swap it. I've got them out. I've compared with all the elements. That minimum element is what 5 was the minimum element I had compared. And I've compared with 4, 3, 2, 1, everything I've compared. Now, after all these things, I've got the minimum element after all this comparison. What is the minimum element? Minimum element is going to be the 1. Element is 1. Where I have to place that? I have to place in its corresponding position. Smallest element, where do you find it? You're going to place it here only, no? That means this has to be swapped. This has to be swapped. So, then I'm going to swap it. When flag is 1 only, I will swap it. With what? Whatever the element is present in 4, you swap with what? L of I. L of I is 0 because this L of 0 is swapped with L of 4. L of 4, L of 0, you swap it. That means what? 1, 4, 3, 2, 5. This is what I got. This is what I've got. Clear? Now what we will do, again we'll go with this. I equals to 1 now. I should be less than 5. And what is the value of j? J should always be I plus 1. J is always I plus 1. That means what? That means this is sorted. I will not take it because the smallest element has already been sorted. You just start from the next one. Sorted, then you go for the next one. It is I plus 1. That is from total where I have to do. Definitely j till less than 5. Less than n, no? That is what we are doing. Now what you have to do again, it is the same thing. Consider, make an assumption, this itself is the minimum element. Minimum element. You compare with this now. Then 3 will be the minimum element. 3 will be the minimum element. Right? 1 minute. I'm going to erase this part. Okay, I'm going to erase this part. So I'm going to set flag and it is going to be the minimum. So I have to change it now. I have to change it, right? So for j equals to 1, 1, 4, 3, this will be the minimum. And I have to change flag equals to 1. And what is the minimum? Minimum will be 0, 1, 2, 3, 2. Position, remember, min is always an index. Min is always an index. 2 is the 0, 1, 2 is the index. When flag is set to 1, F means it's the flag. Because I've made the changes to the min, it's been set to 1. Now what will I do? I'm going to make it as what? I'm going to make it j equal to 3 now. 3 now. And this is being 0, 1, 2, 3. Compare with this. 3, 2 I'm comparing. Definitely 2 is less only, no? Again, you change it. 1, 4, 3, 2. This is going to be the minimum. And this is 5. Definitely flag is set. And minimum is not now 2. It is going to be 3. Here. Understood? Now what will I do? It is equals to 4 now. Okay, this is for this is for this. I'm going to write it here. 1, 4, 3, 2. Okay, I've compared with this. I'll compare with this. Will I change my min? 2 and 5 I'm comparing. Is 2 less than 5? Definitely 2 is less than 5. I should not change it. 2 itself is the minimum. I should not change it now. Flag is set already. I should not change this. This minimum will retain as 3 only and will be 1 only. And I cannot continue further because 5 is not less than 5, does not satisfy the condition, comes out of the loop. When it comes out of the loop, what you have to do? Check for the flag status. Please flag 1, definitely flag is 1. You swap it. One element is already sorted. I want the second element to be sorted. Second element to be sorted, that means the index is 1. You change it. That means what? Yellow 1 should be swapped with what? Yellow of min, that is yellow of 1 has to be swapped with yellow of 2. This retains as it is yellow of 2. Sorry, yellow of 3. Yellow of 1 is this. Second element should be sorted. Then minimum is going to be the 2 only out of this. Then I have to swap it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have swapped. That's the point here. Understood? Now, very simple. What do we do? It's already sorted. You can just see here. Will it going to end? Definitely not. It is going to continue with the further iterations also. Then it is going to check. See, in this, 2 elements are already sorted. In the next iteration, what it is going to take? It is going to take min as going to be the third and third. Then it's going to compare, then retains as it is, no changes. Flag will not be set to 1. Flag will not be set to 1 because it is 0 only. Change agadele. This is not going to change. And then again, this will be the minimum 4, 5. Again, it is not going to change. It is placed as it is. So this is what a selection sort. See here in that iteration, so many iterations it took. Okay.